Hey guys, Mythic Firesaur is here, so let's find out if he is worth getting. So let's go ahead and get started. Mythic Firesaur is a tank, and his name is Firesaur Treat. And his traits are Taunt, Torch Immunity, and Life Regeneration. So none of these are bad at all. They're actually all really good, which is kind of surprising. And then his relics are Armor and Armor, which are also really good. So yeah, of course he would be better if he had Mega Taunt, but he doesn't have Mega Taunt. He only has Normal Taunt, and that is still pretty decent. If you do end up pairing him with like some area dodge monsters, that would be perfect because then he could just suck up all of the single target attacks. But without that, you will have some problems if enemies use like AoEs and stuff like that. But besides that, those traits are pretty decent. So let's go on down to the pros and the cons. So he has a great trait in life. He has a not a bad cursing and burn, random tortures, fire, and magic weaknesses, and vulnerable, which are all really amazing for a tank to have. Not many tanks have that. The fire and magic weaknesses can make fire monsters do tons of damage and magic monsters, and then the vulnerable on top of that is just great. You can have a fire or magic monster just doing like 3 times its normal damage. And then if you also have like a support monster on top of that with like damage boost, double damage, or triple damage, you could have like up to 600% damage, and that's just insanely strong. So yeah, this monster can be really good if you pair it with the right stuff. Then it also has decent self-sustaining and damage protection and regen. It has nice relics and very low cooldowns and stamina costs. And then its cons are a few self-sustaining moves and no access to Megaton. Which, yeah, we did already go over the no access to Megaton, but I honestly don't really agree with the few sustaining moves because it does have a pretty good one right here with self-damage protection and regen with only 1 cooldown. So that is a pretty great self-sustaining move. And then let's also look at the other moves. So it has a burn and random torture single target. It has an AoE fire weakness and vulnerable, which is incredible. If you have a fire attacker with also area dodge and with an AoE move, that would be like the perfect monster to pair with Firesaur Treat. That would just be amazing. And then it also has a team regeneration. I'm not sure if we went over the burn and random torture, but that's pretty good as well. It is single target though, but it's still pretty decent. And then it also has a fire weakness plus magic weakness plus vulnerable, which is also really great. So yeah, it has a pretty great moveset right here for a tank. Really good. It doesn't have Megaton, but that's not really a huge big deal if you get some monsters with like area dodge or something, or just work around the Megaton. Just don't expect him to be like a super broken tank and you won't be disappointed. He's a pretty great tank, but he isn't like overpowered or broken or anything. Yeah, if you pair him with like a good fire attacker, especially a fire attacker, but a magic attacker would also work. But that fire attacker with that AoE fire weakness would just be so good. And then also the vulnerable on top of that, just so good. Yeah, don't expect him to be broken or anything. You do have to have some monsters with him to kind of make him work the best. And they have to be very specific monsters, so keep that in mind. So only really get this monster, especially since he costs a lot of gems since he is in a Tails challenge. Only really get him if you already have the monsters to work around him. If you have like that very special fire attacker with AoE damage, AoE fire damage in particular, with that area dodge as well, definitely get this monster. That is just going to be busted. Even if you just have a fire attacker with AoE moves in general, that would be pretty busted with it, and a good supporter on top of that can work well, especially if you have a supporter with like damage boost or something like that. But yeah, keep in mind this monster does take some monsters around him to work hard in order to make him good. He can't just be broken on his own. But if you go into getting him with that mindset, then you'll be pretty pleasantly surprised. He'll be pretty great addition to your team. But yeah, let me know down in the comments what you guys think of Firesaur Treat, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Over to like, share, and subscribe. Goodbye.